Boundaries for me is something that is absolutely vital. It is not optional. It is vital. Don't feel this pressure to stick onto something or choose to work towards something that I feel isn't benefiting me, whether emotionally, mentally, professionally, or things like that. Things like marriage and having children aren't markers of success. They are not things that you need to achieve. They're not achievements, right? Your peace, your quiet is an enjoyable part of your life, and you don't feel the need to prove that to anybody. I do not see them having kids as a marker of success, or them having kids as a validating concept or thing for them about dating in the 30s. You're not just attracting riffraff. Especially when you know what you want. If you don't know what you want, you kind of give anybody access to you. People who don't want to hold themselves accountable but are ready to hold you accountable is unacceptable. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. It is me, it is I, it is Katleho. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to have this conversation with y'all. And I'm wearing a really baggy t-shirt because I'm wearing a really baggy t-shirt because I'm chilling. We're winding down. You know what I'm saying? I really wanted to have this conversation. This is a real talk video. As always, thank you for choosing me over and over again. This is an I Have Thoughts real talk video, and it's largely spurred on by the fact that a little over a month from now I'm going to be a year older. Yes, I'm currently 37, and there's not many content creators, well, within the vicinity space, South African space, maybe even African space, that have this kind of conversation. And I wanted there to be an open platform where content creators can speak to their viewers and the people who follow them, not only about the wonderful things that happen in their lives in terms of getting married and having children, but that the viewers can also find a home in content creators who don't have that kind of life, but also enjoy the life that they're having. It's a different kind of joy, right? It's a different kind of experience. And I wanted to share some of the things that I have learned along the way, even though my life may have taken a different route. And for me, it's not different because it's not something that I wanted. It's not something that I put in the forefront of my mind ever in my whole entire life about, getting married and having children. However, it has gone in a very different route in terms of professionally and some of the things that I've achieved, some of the things that I thought I might have achieved by now and I didn't, and some of the things that I have achieved by now. And I'm proud of those things too. So I wanted to have this conversation with you guys. I don't have any TikTok videos that are set up for this video. However, if I do come across something before I get to editing this video, I might slam them in here. You know what I'm saying? So this one is a little bit of a serious one because it's sharing my experiences and the things that I have learned, the things that I have come to be very comfortable with, come to accept, come to enjoy, come to, experience without any form of sadness or sorrow that I'm lacking something. More than anything, I just feel like it's a different route, and all routes should be celebrated, whether you decide to take the route of being married and having children, or whether you decide to take the route of not being married and not having children, right? So all of them should be celebrated, and I'm here to celebrate that, or celebrate rather my experiences of that. Okay. The first thing for me that I have realized, especially being in my late 30s, is that boundaries for me is something that is absolutely vital. It is not optional, it is vital. So how somebody approaches me, how somebody speaks to me, how I see relationships, what I experience in relationships, I have learned that boundaries are absolutely vital. When you're in your 30s, you get really good at saying no. you learn to say that, nah, I'm not okay with this. This is overstepping my boundary. This is you really pushing my boundaries to a point where I don't expect it. I don't appreciate it. And because of that, I'm going to say no to this. I'm going to say no to what you're proposing. I'm going to say no to this relationship. It doesn't seem like it's working for me, and actually being okay with it. Anything that doesn't align with what I want for myself is something that I'm very, very quick, fast, and in a hurry to let go of, and I feel quite comfortable letting it go, so I don't feel this pressure to stick onto something or choose to work towards something that I feel isn't benefiting me, whether emotionally, mentally, professionally, or things like that. You really learn to get really good at setting your boundaries and saying no. And I feel like my 30s have taught me that. In my early 30s, it was a little bit tricky, but now I'm very, very determined to, stick to my boundaries and all of that. I love it. I love it, And another thing is, you also realize that you don't have to have a partner to build a very solid and complete life. You can complete yourself. There's many parts of my life that are absolutely blessed, perfect, damn near perfect, and just solid. For me, they are stable. I'm happy about being in that phase of my life. I'm happy about having what I have. I don't feel like I'm lacking something because I do not have a kid or I am not married. For me, that is not a thing for me. I don't feel like something is missing. I was once told in a video comment a long time ago on YouTube, say you have such a beautiful house, it's a shame that there's no kids running around there and what, and I was just like, but why is it a shame? Why can't the conversation just stop at, you have such a beautiful house? Why must my personality, or why must my choices in life be seen or deemed as wrong because they are not aligning with what is seen or what society sees as the natural way of things? Why can't not having a child and not being married also be conceived as natural and seen as natural? Why must it be something we need to explain, or why must it be a proof that there is a lack within me because I do not have that? Why can't it be seen as, she's very firm on her boundaries, she doesn't accept the bare minimum, she doesn't want just something to placate her life and just be like, okay, it's fine, I got this, and not be happy internally, but she's got this. Why must it be like that? And for me, it's just been one of those things where I just feel like, nah, bro, I'm enough on my own. I complete myself on my own. Anything that comes, Tracy Ellis Ross talks about this a lot, and I love her. I follow her. She's in her 50s. She's single. She's got no kids. Maybe she's seeing someone, sure, whatever. But we're talking in the space of, married or single, right? So you can be single but be in a relationship. Single but be in a relationship. Or you can be married. So those are the two, right? And Tracy Ellis talks about this a lot, where she's just like, what is the problem? I complete myself, and anybody who comes into my life adds value to it. For me, that's how I see it too. If you're going to come into my life, you must add to what is already there. If I'm coming into your life, I need to add to what is already there. So anybody who comes into my life is somebody that I'm willing to build upon what we both already have and then move up to it. So
I would love a relationship that makes my life better than it is. I have no interest in being in a relationship to be in a relationship. Mm-hmm. The truth is that, I'm a rare breed. So, there might not be a match that's a rare breed for a while.
and another big thing with regards to that is because I'm older and because I've got assets and because I've got, investments and things like that, I'm very particular. I know that if I go into a relationship and I get steady and I get committed and, the conversation about living together comes in, or even getting married or having children or whatever, chances are I'm not going to do that. But if the conversation comes in and all of this, I know that I'm going to, prenuptial agreements are going to be things, and, getting married, and then you consider accruals and all of the things that you are going to get together are the things that you can divide 50-50 from the marriage or whatever. But it's not something that I consider. But being in my 30s, it is something that I've thought about, that should my life trajectory change and I get married in my 50s or whatever, what's going to happen? I need to be cognizant of things like that. But for me, it already shows me how complete and full my life already is, that whoever comes into it is going to add to what's already there.
Do you believe life would be unfulfilling and gray without kids? I don't think you should be having kids. The same goes for relationships and marriages. You should not expect another person to complete you. That is an incredible amount of pressure and responsibility to put your happiness onto another person. That's just not how that works. So many people have this twisted belief that getting married and having kids solves problems that you were unable to solve yourself. Like, your unresolved trauma does not go away as you add more people to the equation. Is so many people who comment things like this will also comment things like this, and will actively insult people who are child-free or want to be child-free and call them miserable because they themselves can't imagine a life otherwise. And my entire account is really revolved around choice, respecting everyone's choice, because we're not all the same. We don't have to live the same. We don't have to desire the same things, and just respect that for everyone else and make sure that your life choices are intentional, and then allow everyone else the courtesy to do the same.
A huge other thing that I learned is that things like marriage and having children aren't markers of success. They are not things that you need to achieve. They're not achievements, right? You shouldn't have to feel like you need to have children or be in a marriage so that you feel fulfilled or validated. This is the purpose of your life. This is what validates your whole entire existence. This is the moment that matters. Marriage and children for me are not markers of success. I celebrate my married friends. I celebrate my friends with children. More than anything, I love their kids, and they know how much I love them. I buy them gifts. I do nice things for them. I talk to them on the phone regularly. I'm just like, friend, I don't want to talk to you. I want to talk to the boys. Okay? I want to talk to your son. I want to talk to so-and-so. I want to talk to so-and-so. And when their birthdays also roll around, I'm the auntie. You know what I mean? I'm the auntie that goes out of my way to celebrate my friends' kids, But at the same time, I do not see them having kids as a marker of success, or them having kids as a validating concept or thing for them. I see my friends as women outside of the children that they have. I see my male, I don't have that many male friends, but I see my male friends who do have children. When I talk to them and all of them, that they are the men that they are the women that they are outside of their children. Their children add to who they are and who they've become over the years. Absolutely. But I've known most of them without children. I've known them before they had the kids, and now I know them after they have 1 or 2 or 3 children. And I still see them as this person that I used to go out with, this person that I still do lunches with outside of their children. So I see them as human beings outside. I see them as human beings first, outside of being mothers or fathers. And And I think that's how we should see things. And I've learned that in my 30s, that that's how we should see things. We should see our friends and people who are married and have children as individuals first, and that marriage and having kids is not a marker of success. It really isn't. You shouldn't feel like you have to achieve these things to feel purposefully validated. I want you to never forget that. If you are watching this, never ever forget that, please. Okay. The freedom, I talked about this in my previous video. The freedom is unmatched. You can do whatever you want, whenever you want. I can pack up and move to Cape Town tomorrow. If I wanted to do that, I could do it. I could pack up and move to Finland, Poland, wherever, tomorrow. I can literally do those things tomorrow. I think they're cutting my grass. Give me a second. Another thing that I learned in my 30s, and it's become a very prevalent and important part of my life, is my friendships. Friendships in your 30s, they really run soul deep. Like, it's not just surface level friendships. I don't get to see my friends in my 30s as often as I would like to, and it's largely because, you know, we're busy, we're working, we're independent women, mothers, okay, married, okay, and I understand that. But also at the same time, in the interactions that we do have, you know, technology, phones, we talk every day and things like that, I realize that all our conversations, every single conversation that I have with them is so deep. We do not talk about frivolous things. We do not engage in conversations about, partners or relationships. Maybe that'll account for 10% of the conversations that we generally do have. Most of the time, the conversations revolve around making money, growing ourselves, working on ourselves, therapy, learning about, personal growth and how we can support each other in difficult times. The friendships are just so much more solid and stable, and these are friendships that you know that are going to carry you for a very, very long time. And that's one of the things that I learned a lot in my 30s, that the friendships that weren't meant to be there, they kind of filtered away, and the ones that have been there for years now. And it's just one of those things that, being in my late 30s has taught me, is that friendships really are not just surface level, and they actually run really, really deep, and they are, oh man, it's a connection unlike any other. For me, what I've noticed, and I'm going to add in Tracy Ellis Ross's conversation with Michelle Obama, just a clip here, where she talks about relationships. You attract better when you come into a space as a whole person, right? You attract better. When you go into wanting to find partnerships and wanting to find relationships from a place of desperation, or from a place of lack, or from a place of, this is what I need to do because this is what is societally acceptable and things like that, you are going to attract really trashy people. You absolutely are. You really are. You really are. So when you are in a place of wholeness, where you don't date out of loneliness, where you don't date out of the feeling that you need to have a companion so that you are, treated better or seen as happier, or whatever people seem to think it is. When you are not feeling that, and you're coming from a place where you feel whole and complete by yourself, you attract a better type of, person. It might not end up being a fruitful, fulfilling relationship, but I've realized that the people that I have engaged with in the spaces of my 30s, where I am not in a relationship and I'm single, are a better quality of people, a better quality type of people who are men or women who have progressed in their lives, who have achieved a lot, who, stand on business, have boundaries, have an understanding that I'm busy too. I don't have time to constantly be all up in each other's faces, or I do not have the time to be disrespected or mistreated, and they bring to the table the very same thing. You know, you are sitting with powerhouses of people who are really good in their fields of work. They are very intelligent, and that's what I've personally attracted. And I think it's basically from a place where I'm whole. I'm not dating out of loneliness or lack. I'm dating because why not, you know? But I bring a sense of wholeness and completion to the next person, and it attracts that as well. It's one of my favorite things about dating in the 30s. You're not just attracting riffraff. Especially when you know what you want. If you don't know what you want, you kind of give anybody access to you. When you do know what you want and your boundaries are in check and you don't have time to be running around and wasting your time, you really attract people who see that in you and also exhibit that within themselves, and they want you to see that too. So it's very nice. It's very, very nice. So it's okay, you know. Taking care of myself, looking after myself, looking after my mental, looking after my physical, looking after, just myself generally. It's not a trend. It becomes a lifestyle. I look after myself in how I eat. I look after myself in the things that take precedence in my life, like my mental health and things that matter to me. I invest time and energy into, so much so that it becomes a habit, then it becomes a lifestyle. So it's something that I naturally do. As I was saying, I think the previous video or in this one, I don't know if I said it already, but I write in my journal quite a lot. I color. You guys have seen this. I do whatever it takes to look after myself. I do whatever it takes to put myself first. I do whatever it takes to, not squash my opinions or the things that matter to me, or put myself in a place where I need to become a smaller version of who I am just for the sake of keeping people around. Self-care for me becomes a lifestyle. Wanting to be addressed a certain way is a part of who I am. Upholding my boundaries is just standard. Those kinds of things matter to me quite a lot. And I realize that it becomes even more prevalent. It becomes more and more and more when I'm in my 30s. And I love that for me. I think another thing is, when you're in your 30s, you begin to see love differently. Whether you see love in the familial space or the relationship space or maybe with friends, you see it differently. It doesn't always just boil down to, I love them, they love me. It boils down to support. It boils down to understanding. It boils down to trust, to loyalty, to being able to be open with the next person, to be able to be seen and heard. When you're not seen, when you're not heard, when you're discarded and whatever, things like that become absolutely unacceptable for you. Things like people who don't want to hold themselves accountable, whether in the relationship, family, friendship space, people who don't want to hold themselves accountable but are ready to hold you accountable is unacceptable. You start to see things differently, and all of those things are certain aspects and factors that lead into the whole concept of love and what love is and what love should look like. And for me in my 30s, I realized it's not just about, oh, I love him, I love her so much. It's about, do they respect me? It's about, do they respect me? It's about, do they support me? It's about, are they willing to do the hard work in order to, see us and our friendship on the other side? Are they willing to be open and upfront about how they feel about certain things? Son is moving in and out of the class, can't do anything about that, okay? It's about things like that. And these are things that matter to me specifically, being in my 30s. Yeah, being in my 30s. Mm-hmm. Another big thing is I spend a lot of time at home, and I think if you're watching this right now, you know that. you learn to enjoy sitting with yourself. You really do. You treat yourself to nice things. You do it alone. It's fine. If you do it with your friends, great. If you do it with your lover, great. But it doesn't diminish the fact that you can do it alone and enjoy it. You know, you learn to sit with yourself. Your peace, your quiet is, and hello? My goodness, your peace, your quiet is an enjoyable part of your life, and you don't feel the need to prove that to anybody. It's a part of you that you enjoy. It's a part of you that you need even from time to time, so that you can rejuvenate, so that you can, recalibrate, so that you can, find bits and pieces of yourself in between. It's a beautiful thing. You learn to sit with yourself and you learn to actually enjoy it. And it's fabulous. And you get to redefine the concept of family. I think that's one thing that I have learned in my 30s and coming to my late 30s, is that I get to redefine the concept of family. Family doesn't look like the standard conventional husband, wife, children. Family looks like everybody in my life who supports me, who shows up for me, everybody in my life who doesn't punish me for being myself, or doesn't make me feel bad when I make a mistake, or doesn't make me feel small. That's what family looks like to me. People who are willing to see me at my worst, and also celebrate and see me at my best. You know what I'm saying? And that for me becomes family. Those are the people that I can literally just be myself around and not worry that just because I said something in a moment of being, upset and mad about something and all of that, that now I stand a chance to lose that person. I don't want to feel like I cannot be myself. And so that's what family looks like to me. The people that choose me every day and show up for me, and I do the same for them. And that's redefining what family looks like. And I love it. A big thing also, your intuition. Your intuition is wild when you are in your 30s, child-free, and not married and all of that, but also you could be married and have a child, but your intuition it peaks. It really, really peaks. It's insane when the energy doesn't align, when it doesn't feel right, when something about it is just not right. You stay away from it. Like you cut it out of your life, and you are okay with the fact that it's gone. Like it's all right. If it doesn't align with what I need for this to work, if it doesn't align, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to waste my time trying to figure out why it doesn't align and why this. What is meant to be in your life finds its way into your life some way, somehow. And even if it leaves and it comes back, it finds its way back into your life. You don't have to worry about it in that time. If it's meant to come back, it will. And that's one of the things that I largely believe, is that if it's meant to come back, it will. If it's not, then it wasn't meant to. And that is also okay. So that is also another chapter in your life that you're okay with. It didn't work out. And it be like that sometimes, whether it's with a friend or a lover or, a certain work situation. You learn as well that in your 30s, this is a different one, but you learn as well in your 30s that pivoting is not a bad thing. You can and will pivot a lot. Because you get to redefine what success looks like, and you get to redefine what your life looks like, and you get to redefine what you want for yourself, for your life, whether it's with professionally or whether it's with relationships, whether it's with friendships. You get to redefine that. So you find yourself pivoting quite a lot when you're in your 30s. And I have pivoted. Okay? I've pivoted. And I've enjoyed the fact that I have. I am not enjoying what the weather is doing, but it be like that sometimes. But you get to see that, you redefine a lot of aspects within your life when you're in your 30s, and you keep redefining them as you go along. It's fabulous. It's amazing. I hope this video was helpful. and educational and inspiring, and makes you feel a little bit warmer and softer, and feels like a little bit of a hug, especially if you didn't know what your next move would be, or if you felt a little bit lost, or if you feel like maybe you're not going to get the life that you wanted or whatever, and you feel like you're in the waiting room of your life. You're not in the waiting room of your life. You're living your life. It just looks a little bit different, and it might change. Anything can change at the end of the day. Anything can change. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was very powerful and cleansing and healing for me to film, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as well, and you felt the same or somewhat similar. Until the next video, thank you for choosing me over and over again. Until the next one, I'll see you very, very soon. Until then, sayonara.